March 2021, during the pandemic on the Ohio highway, a lone truck driver, fog, dead engine, a blue disc hovering in the middle of the road, and two beings with foggy masks approaching. Michael Carter's 27-minute nightmare began like this. Welcome to Shelley's Mysterious Files channel. This week, I'm sharing one of the most shocking UFO encounters from the pandemic era. This incident on the Ohio Turnpike in 2021 left behind not just GPS records, but physical evidence as well. Let's begin. Michael, thank you so much for sharing this experience with us. We know it took you 3 years to decide to tell this story. First, could you introduce yourself?
Hello, Shelley. I'm Michael Carter. I'm 54 now. I was 51 back then. I've been a truck driver for 21 years, hauling long-distance cargo. I mostly work Midwest routes, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan areas. I kept working during the pandemic because cargo transportation was considered an essential service. I'm just a normal, ordinary guy. I was never into this stuff, paranormal events or anything, until that night.
What happened to you that night? Can you tell us about that night in March 2021?
It was early March the 7th, 2021, exactly. COVID restrictions were still in effect. I was hauling medical supplies from Cincinnati to Detroit. Masks, gloves, sanitizer, things like that. The roads were very empty late at night because of the pandemic, so I decided to drive at night.
What were road conditions like during the pandemic? Was it different for you?
Very different. The highways were nearly empty. Rest stops were closed or restricted. We constantly wore masks, social distancing. It was a very tense period. There was work, but the stress was tremendous. I felt very lonely that night, too.
What were the weather conditions that night?
As I approached Toledo, a very dense fog started. It's normal for this area in March, but it was especially thick that night. Visibility dropped to 20 meters. I'm usually more careful in such weather, but there were hardly any vehicles on the road that night because of the pandemic.
What was the first strange thing that happened?
First, I saw a strange light in the distance through the fog. Blue, very bright. At first, I thought maybe an ambulance because I was hauling medical supplies. Maybe there's an emergency. But the light was very different. Much bigger than ambulance lights and stationary.
What did you see when you approached this blue light?
I couldn't believe my eyes. Right in the middle of the road, blocking both lanes, was a large craft. Disc-shaped, about 15 to 20 meters in diameter. It was emitting a blue light from underneath. I'd never seen anything like it.
How high was this disc hovering?
Very close to the ground, maybe 2 to 3 meters high. It was hovering silently. No engine sound, no propeller sound. Air traffic was very light during that period due to the pandemic too, so it definitely wasn't a normal aircraft.
What did you do with your truck?
I had to stop. I braked and stopped about 100 meters away, while I was thinking, what is this now? My truck's engine suddenly died. The electrical system completely cut out too.
Did the engine die by itself?
Yes. I didn't do anything, it just died. My GPS, radio, phone charger, everything cut out. The truck was completely dead. I've been driving for 21 years, nothing like this had ever happened.
What did you feel in this situation?
Panic. I was already tense from pandemic stress, and then this happened. I thought I can't even call for help, because my phone was dead too, and that thing was just sitting there like it was waiting for me.
Did anyone come out of the disc?
Yes, that's when the real fear started. A door opened at the bottom of the disc, and two beings came down. They were human-shaped, but very tall, about 2 meters tall. The strangest thing was their faces. They had foggy masks.
Foggy masks? That's a very interesting detail, especially in 2021.
Yes, very ironic. It was a time when everyone was wearing masks anyway. But theirs were different, glass-like material, as if they didn't breathe. I couldn't see their faces. They had silver-colored, shiny clothing.
Did they approach you?
Yes, very slowly. Different from normal walking, like they were gliding. I was frozen in the truck. I thought about running, but the engine wasn't working. My cell phone was dead too. I couldn't call for help.
What were you thinking at that moment?
I was saying, is this pandemic stress? Am I hallucinating? I was very tense during that period, but it was very real. I was pinching my arm, trying to wake up. It was real.
What happened when the beings came to your truck?
One came to the driver's door, the other to the other side. They didn't speak at all, just looked at me. Those foggy masks were very scary. We were already used to masks during the pandemic, but this was very different.
Did you try to communicate with them?
I shouted, "Who are you? What do you want?" through the window. But they didn't react at all. Then I heard a voice in my head like a thought. It was saying, "Don't be afraid. We won't harm you."
What was this telepathic communication like?
Very strange. It felt like my own thought, but it wasn't. It was their message. Very calm, reassuring tone. But it was still scary because the voice was inside my head.
Did they ask you to get out of the truck?
They didn't ask, but the doors opened by themselves. There was no electricity, but the doors opened. A thought came to my head saying, "Come." It was like I was under a spell. I couldn't object.
What happened when you got out of the truck?
I got out. My legs were shaking, but I was walking. They approached, too. One of them had a small metal device in their hand. It touched me, like an electric shock, but it didn't hurt.
What did this device look like?
It was like a small tablet with a bright screen. Blue lights were blinking on it. It scanned my arm, like a medical device. We saw many devices for COVID testing in hospitals during that period. It was similar, but more advanced.
Did they take you into their craft?
Yes, but I don't remember how it happened. Suddenly, I was inside the disc. Very bright, white lights were everywhere. Clean, sterile environment, just like a hospital. We went to hospitals a lot during the pandemic. I knew that atmosphere very well.
What did you feel the moment you entered?
A very strange feeling. I couldn't feel the weight of my body, but I could walk. The air was very clean, breathing was very easy. Since we constantly wore masks during the pandemic, this felt very different. There was no smell, no noise.
What did the inside look like?
It was very big, seemed much bigger than what it looked like from outside. The walls were white, metallic. There were no corners. Everything was made with round lines. Very quiet. There were strange shapes on the walls, maybe writing, maybe just decoration. I couldn't understand.
What was the floor like? Did you have to walk?
The floor was very smooth, metallic but not cold. It emitted a faint light under my feet as I stepped. It was like it knew me, knew where I wanted to go. Very strange technology.
Were there other beings there?
There were 3 total, including the 2. They all looked the same, tall, thin, silver-clothed with foggy masks. They worked very organized, like a medical team. They never spoke, but seemed to understand each other.
How did these beings move inside?
Very fluid, never in a hurry. They had various devices in their hands, constantly looking at them. Just like tablets in doctors' hands, but much more advanced. They emitted light, colors constantly changing.
What did they do to you there?
They had me lie on a table-like thing. I was scared, but my body wasn't objecting. They examined my arms, scanned them with those devices. It was very gentle, but very strange.
What kind of examination did they perform?
They took small samples from my arms, like needles, but it didn't hurt. They did it very quickly and professionally, as if they had done it many times before. Just like COVID testing, but much more advanced.
Did they say anything to you during this process?
A message came to my head. Trust us. We will return you. I also heard something like, this is important to us. Very calm, reassuring, but I didn't understand what it was important for.
How long did this process continue?
I don't know exactly. I couldn't perceive time. Maybe 15 to 20 minutes, maybe less. but it felt very long to me. Then, suddenly, I felt very tired and closed my eyes.
What's the next thing you remember?
I was sitting in my truck's driver's seat. The engine was running, the electricity was back. The radio was playing as if nothing had happened. But I was very confused and tired.
Was there anything else around you at that time?
No, the road was completely empty. No disc, no beings. It was like I had imagined it. But there were small marks on my arms, like needle marks.
Did you check your GPS?
Yes, I checked that too. There were 27 minutes missing. It had stopped recording at 0043, started again at 0110. But I remembered nothing during this time.
How did this discovery affect you?
Very scary. 27 minutes lost. What had I experienced? Where was I? The marks on my arms were real, the GPS records too. But nobody would believe such a thing.
What changed in your life after that night?
I was very tense in the first days. There was already pandemic stress, plus what happened. I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that night. My work performance was affected.
Did you tell anyone about this at that time?
No, nobody. Everyone was already tense during the pandemic. If I had said I saw a UFO, they would have thought I was crazy. I risked losing my job. Finding work was very difficult during that period. I couldn't take the risk.
Did you feel any physical changes in yourself?
Those marks on my arms lasted about 2 weeks. They were very small marks, but noticeable. I also started having very strange dreams. I kept seeing scenes from that craft in my sleep.
How long did these dreams last?
About 6 months, especially the first 3 months, were very intense. I had almost the same dreams every night. That white room, those beings, those devices, it was very disturbing.
Was there any special difficulty in having such an experience during the pandemic?
Definitely, everyone was already in quarantine. There was social distancing. I couldn't talk to anyone about this topic. Normally, maybe I would share it with a few friends, but I wasn't seeing anyone during that period.
Were you able to do research on UFOs or paranormal topics during that period?
I did research on the internet. There was a lot of time at home during the pandemic. I read similar cases, joined UFO forums, but I still didn't have the courage to share.
How did the beings having masks affect you during the pandemic?
It felt very ironic. Everyone was wearing masks during that time, but theirs were very different, as if they didn't breathe, completely sealed. Maybe our air is toxic to them, who knows?
When did you first share this experience?
In 2024, last year. There was a UFO conference in Detroit. I told it anonymously, just saying, Michael. I was so scared I didn't even give my real last name.
What kind of reaction did you get at that conference?
Surprisingly positive. There were people who had very similar experiences. Some even said there was an increase in such cases during 2020 to 2021, as if they were more active during the pandemic.
How did this make you feel?
I was very relieved. I realized I wasn't alone. I could finally share what I had kept inside for 3 years. It was a very liberating experience.
How do you interpret the important to us message?
I thought about this a lot. Maybe they were studying human behavior during the pandemic. Social distancing, masks, quarantine. Humanity was going through a very different period.
Why do you think they chose you?
I don't know. Maybe because I was a truck driver, I saw many people. I worked in different states. Maybe it was just chance, just because I was there that night.
What do you think about the samples they took from your arms?
Maybe they were studying COVID effects. There was no vaccine yet at that time. The virus's effect on humans wasn't fully known. Maybe they knew better.
How do you feel about this experience now?
I'm not afraid anymore. They didn't harm me. They returned me as they promised. Maybe they were well-intentioned. Maybe they were trying to help us during the pandemic.
Would you want to encounter them again?
I don't know. On one hand, I'm very curious. I want to learn what purpose they came for. On the other hand, it's so surreal. I don't know if I could experience it again.
How did this experience affect your worldview?
I realized the universe is much bigger and more mysterious. The pandemic had already shown us how small our world was. Maybe there are other lives and they're interested in us.
Has there been any change in your work life after revealing this experience?
My company doesn't know yet. Only a few close friends know. I still fear losing my job. It's easy for truck drivers to be considered crazy.
How did your family and friends react?
Mixed reactions. My wife believes because she knows me well I don't lie. My children are a bit skeptical but respectful. My friends mostly make it a joke.
Does this situation upset you?
Not anymore. Whether people believe or not isn't my problem. What I experienced was real. That's enough for me.
What advice would you give to people who have similar experiences?
Don't be afraid. If they wanted to harm, they could have done it very easily. They obviously have a different purpose. And know that you're not alone. Many people experience such things.
What would you say to those who want to research this topic?
Be open-minded. I didn't used to believe in such things either, but when you experience it, you see that the world is much more mysterious. You need to approach without prejudice.
Do you think there was an increase in such cases during the pandemic?
Yes, it seems so. Humanity went through a big change. Maybe they were watching this too. It was an interesting time. Everyone was home. The sky was cleaner.
Finally, if you had a message for those beings, what would you say?
Thank you. You didn't harm me. If you're really trying to help, please continue. But maybe you could communicate more openly with people.
Michael, thank you so much for this brave sharing. Your story is very important.
Thank you, Shelley. Telling this story wasn't easy, but I couldn't keep it inside anymore. Maybe other people will find courage and share their own experiences.
Michael Carter's Ohio Turnpike experience during the 2021 pandemic brings many questions with it. Was there really an increase in UFO activities during the pandemic? Were the beings studying COVID-19's effects on humanity? What really happened during Michael's 27 minutes of missing time? Share your answers to these questions in the comments.